The next step in the plan is to experiment with ASCII art. If you go to a search engine and look for ASCII art, this website, chris.com, will most likely be the first result. The first page that opens has an aardvark on it, so I'm just going to take this and copy it somewhere here. Let's see, maybe we can use some other characters as well. How about Star Wars? Maybe we can have Yoda. Okay. Yes, there is an instance of Yoda we can use. Oops. Okay, this is it. Let's see if there are other characters. We have to find something small, such that it doesn't take the whole screen area. Okay, I guess that's it when it comes to Star Wars. Let's look for something else. Ice Age. No. Bambi. Okay, this one looks good enough for practical purposes. I copy it and I paste it here. Oops. Okay, here we go. So we have several images which we'll be using in our application. I'm going to store them in separate files in a new directory, which I will call characters. That's it. This is the first character, and I'm going to save it in a separate file. Then we'll have another one for Yoda, and another one for who was the yeah, Bambi. Now let's go back here, take Yoda, here we go, and Bambi is the last one. All right, now let's look, let's think about it for a while. So when we print this on the screen, what we see is the following. If this is the whole screen area, if we print the ASCII character as is, it will take this space. But if you remember how ASCII and Fortune work, they do it somewhat differently. You have the screen, you have the message somewhere here on top, then there is a line going out of the character, and then there's the character itself. So we will have to replicate the same behavior. And I will do it like this. I will draw some lines coming out of this character, and I will leave one empty line on top, because that's where, actually, I don't think we need that empty line, we'll see. So I'm just drawing these lines which are something like a callout. It's a line that will tell us that a message is printed on the screen and it comes from this character here. Now, one more thing, we do the same for the aardvark. And I think, okay, this will probably be good enough. So we have several files here, each of them represents a new character, and the idea is that you can extend the program by adding custom ASCII characters. And by characters I don't mean letters, but you know, heroes of cartoons, movies, and stories. So every time you want to add a new picture to your program, just add an ASCII art file to the character subdirectory, and don't forget to add this callout line. And it's probably a good idea to remove the indentation if there is any. As you remember, there were tab characters, and I shifted the whole picture to the left. So the plan is as follows. We have a string which represents all the letters that draw the character. Let's call it character. And then we have another string that contains the quote. What we have to do is print the quote, then add some empty lines, and then add the text that represents the character. So right now, this is what I'm going to focus on. I will implement the next functions in a separate file. And we are going to have to rely on a module called OS. It will provide some functions that will help us in this project. So we know that the folder that contains our characters is called characters. Now let's see how this can work. We have to open the file first, os.listdir. This function will give us a list of files in a given directory. So let's see how this works. No, I'm going to do something else. Let's switch here. Now let's run the Python interpreter. So I'm going to import OS, and then I'm going to call os.listdir. Okay, it takes an argument, and that argument is d dropbox Winfortune characters. So it gave us a list, and it has 3 file names as we expect. I would like to select a random character each time, so I'm going to use another module. The random module has a function called choice. I'm going to store that list in a temporary variable, and then I'm going to print random choice A. So it takes a list at the input, and it takes one element and returns it, a random element. So if I'm going to do this again, each time we get something new. Now let's apply that here. This is our list of characters. Current character is random choice characters. Okay. And now let's have a function, say message. It will return a string of the following type. So it's going to be the message. Then we will append the current character to this message, and then we just return the whole thing. But I will have to move this inside the function. Okay, now I can save it as save message.py. Okay, let's give it a try. Switch to Dropbox, Winfortune. Okay, Python save message py. Nothing happens. Nothing happens because I didn't call this function. So I'm going to do what I did several times today already. If the function, so if we run this as a standalone program, I'm going to call same message with hello world. And since this function doesn't print anything, it just returns a string, I will have to print this. Okay, going back here. Of course, it prints the file name, but not the not the contents of the file, naturally. So I'm going to read the file first. Character image equals open current character and read it. Of course, current character is just a file name. We have to use the directory as well. So this is what we are going to do. Path equals os.path.join, and we're going to join the character directory with the current character. And this has to be character image. I saved it. I'm going to run it one more time. Okay, here we go. It looks good, but we see some interesting stuff here. And the explanation is simple, if you know it. The file was saved as Unicode, and those first few characters are the byte order mark, also known as the BOM. So I'm just going to save it again as ASCII. As ANSI, excuse me. All right, all of them are saved. Now we go here. Okay, this looks good, though the aardvark, honestly doesn't look that cute. And I have, okay, but let's leave this for later. For now, we just see that our randomizer works and the message is added. So if we take something longer, okay, maybe this isn't perfect, but it's close enough. And we'll apply some tweaks a little bit later. So we have a new function, it's called sayMessage. It's in the module we called sayMessage. So I'm going to have to go back here and add this new module to the list of imports. And let's make another experiment. So I'm going to get the page, and instead of adding stuff to the database, I will just call sayMessage.sayMessage. So the first one is the name of the module, followed by the name of the function. And we want to print data, and specifically the quote in that data. And I'm going to do this just for the first, let's say, 3 quotes. And I'm going to add some new lines to keep things separated. Okay, it didn't print anything. I wonder why. Let's extend this. Give it another try. I guess something is wrong with our sayMessage function. Take some message. Let's just, for now, print the character image to make sure that we read something from the file. Okay, so we know that sayMessage does read the ASCII art correctly, but we don't see an actual message here. Ah, of course. The problem is that sayMessage doesn't print anything, it only returns a string. And my mistake was that I wasn't printing it, I was just calling the function and that's it. But now if I do this change, it should work. Okay. Again, this isn't that pretty, but at least the basic idea is right. We have our quote, we have this line, somehow it doesn't really look nice, but then we have the character itself as well. So we are closer. And in the next few videos, we will further refine this and make it work as expected.